Hi guys, this is Ola from CADpond, and in today's video we are going to proceed with the modeling of our Xbox Series X controller pad. In this video, I will be demonstrating how we create offset surface of our solid body, how we split these surfaces using our created sketches, how we thicken these surfaces to create the case shells for the controller pad. And then in doing this, we're going to create different components of the controller casing. And lastly, we are also going to create holes which will be cut into our casings. Alright, so let's get into this. So right now we have our sketches created from the previous video and everything is set for us to proceed with. So the first step for us to take is going to be to create an offset surface of this body. Hence we go to surface and then under create I would see offset. Clicking on offset, we have here faces or surface bodies, so I will simply just select on the body here and rotate to see what has been selected. So we observe that these two faces here were neglected, so I would also include these two. Having done that, I have distance of 0 and I would say okay. So something to know about this particular phase of this project is that creating the casing in any other way right now seemed to be impossible, which is the reason why we are taking this approach. And also we are going to be observing some processes naturally should not be used, but that's what we're going to work with to make sure that we have what we desire. Alright, so having done this, we have created our bodies. If I click on this drop down, then we have the surface body here. And then next for us to do is going to be to create cuts and splits on our surfaces. To begin, I go over to solid, modify, and I say split face. The split face tool allows us to select on a particular face and then also select on a particular sketch to cut through that face. So for this we are going to need our sketches, and let's see, I would begin with the face to cut, I guess that's what it's called. So I begin with this cut here, and then the faces to split I will select on this face. The splitting tool, I'm going to select on this and also click on extend split tool. We don't have to be bothered about what else the split tool is passing through, as long as the face to split is simply this one highlighted in blue. So I'll click on OK, and we notice that we have split this face into two parts. It's quite nice to see that this seemed like it worked properly. And the same thing here. Alright, so we proceed to the next split. So this has been used, hence we go through the bottom cut. I rotate towards the bottom part and repeat the same process. Split face. My face to split is this face, which we notice to be that, and then my splitting tool is going to be 1. Alright, so I guess I have to split it one by one, so I'll do OK. Repeat the same process. I click on the right button on my mouse, drag up a little bit and drop on repeat split face. So for this face here, my splitting tool, bottom cut is going to be this one, and okay. And then lastly, repeat the same process here. And then this middle face, the split 2 will be this and this. Alright, so we have this and we are good to go. Alright, okay. So with all of this now, the next steps for us to follow would be to cut this face here. How we do that? I right click again, drag up, repeat split face, select on this. It should be this. Alright, and then we use the split tool outside and not the one placed within. So with that split tool, I click on OK, and good enough, it worked well. Lastly, we repeat the same process. Repeat split face, this face, select, take a look at this, and we use the inner sketch this time around and say OK. Alright, so with all of this done, I would have to say that we are very close to completion of this video. So the next step for us to take is going to be to create thickness, I should call it that, to thicken the surfaces which we have created, because right now they are simply faces and then we will have to thicken them. Alright, so what we would do is going to be, first of all, I'll try to put all of this within each other. So I select from this and hold on to my shift button, click on this and sort them into a group. Alright, so at this point we go over to create and then we click on thicken. So the funny thing about this is that when we create a thicken feature here, as you can see from the description from this on the software, it said it select the face to thicken, then specify a thickness value. It doesn't necessarily create the thicken feature in a normal direction, or let's say not a normal direction. It creates it in a normal direction, but possibly not in the direction that we want. So in the case where we have a surface that is inclined or that is bent, like what we can see here, then the thicken feature is also going to be bent, giving us a thickness that is not necessarily parallel to the top plane. I'm not sure you understand what I mean. So I'll just show you. In this process, we are going to thicken our parts, the surfaces bit by bit, and then we are going to use the join command to bring them together. We are doing that this way because any other way it's going to give us an error in which the system is unable to compute the thicken feature. So I'll use thicken. I begin with this top face here. So you've noticed it's trying to select all the faces, which is not what we want. So I select on chain selection, switch off, and then I'll start with this. So it's going in the outward direction, which is not our desire. I'll take this to be equal minus 1.5 in the opposite direction. Then I could say new component and select on OK. Alright, so for now we have the very basic part of this, and this is not all we want for this top face or top case. So we bring back the surface body, make it visible again, repeat the same process, repeat thicken. Remember that the chain selection is switched off, so I select on the next. With this selected, instead of using new body, I would say join. And what it does is that it joins what we have to the previous body, as you see here. Now what I was saying is, if you look at the thicken here, we notice that it's not straight in itself, but it's kind of bent, taking the normal direction of the surface points. So which is a weird stuff, but we have a way around that. So I'll click on OK, and I just keep on repeating the same process till we get the completion of our top face. Alright, so we have this as our top face, and weirdly it has just one body, which is not the desire. So I suppose what I would do is I would say combine. I'll combine this with this and also this. So I would say okay. Alright, so with all of this now we have just one component, which is all of these top faces which we have. Next we are going to create for the bottom component, and that's going to comprise of everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, we are probably going to separate them to make it look quite nice. So what I'll do is I would say 1 minus 1.5 direction and call this a new component and say okay. Alright, so that's this. Then we go over to the rest. See this. Alright, create thicken 1 new component, and so we have this. And let's see, let's check how this was extruded. So that looks pretty good. If I switch this off, so the thickening is quite good enough, except at this point, which I have no idea why. This is this way and this is this way. Alright, so that's fine. And so we proceed body. So since we have 1 and 2, I suppose I would simply join 1, 2 together, 1, 2 together with all of this. So that's what I will simply do. I'm not really sure how the bodies are assembled yet, so it's going to be a little bit weird what I'm doing right now. But I would include this and join to this component. So for now I think I'm going to switch off component 2, 1, which is this. So with this selected, I'll say new body, join. And so I'm joining it together with this. I guess the way the software works, because I don't really understand it, is that the bodies that are visible, or probably the previous body created, is what the new components is joined to. I guess so. But if that's what it does, then well, let's say it's pretty smart. Alright, at this point, we have just a few things left to do. So I would create thicken again, repeat thicken, and select on this. Let's see if I can also select on this. Alright, so I guess I'm not allowed to do so. So I would cancel this and simply select on this face. Going inwards by minus 1.5. and this should be, let's assume, or you know what, let's join it together. So right now I have a reason for doing that, and later on we are going to figure that out. So I repeat the process for the rest of the faces remaining. So we have this face, join, and okay. And lastly, around this corner, body, right click and drag up, repeat ticking, this, join, and okay. And then this face, join. Okay, so at this point we have our bottom face, our bottom component, the cover here, and we have the top component also. However, we don't yet have what the back point of this here. So what we would do is simply to switch this back on, and this is going to be joined together with this body. So if I right click, take it to repeat ticking, I switch this back off, I switch this component back off. So what we have is simply this, right? So what I'll do is I'll select on this face. Let's see how it creates its thickening. Alright, so it's a little bit weird, and I guess we're going to have to make some slight changes to what we have right now. Let's see. Alright, you know what? I just have to cross check what we have here. It's cutting in this way. So, alright, no problem. We create join. So we're joining it together with that body, which is this way, right? And I would say okay. So to confirm all that we have, let me bring back the components. So we have it this way. Yes, and yes. And lastly, we're going to create an extrusion for this face here. So, but for this face, I suppose it's impossible for us to thicken that, because I tried a number of times and it was not working the way I needed it to. So if I made this 1.5 going outwards, it actually does work. That's great. So we click on new body and okay. And then with that done, what we will just have to do is to join this body together with this. So we need combine. This is the target body, and then the body to join together with it, it's going to be this body here. So two body is this, and say okay. So for now, this is what we have, and we proceed to the last part of this video. So at this point in time, I have actually missed out something. Alright, so to do that, remember the parts that was cut out here, I haven't included that. So I pick up my body again and say create, thicken, and this is a face to select, and it's going in minus 1.5 millimeters. That's this going inwards, and then I want it to also join. So hopefully it's going to join to the proper component, I suppose. Alright, so it doesn't, which is kind of a bummer. So what we'll do is I would say create thicken. I would create it separately. That's this face, minus 1.5. new body and okay. And then I would where is it? So I would merge both of these bodies together now. Combine. This is the target body still, and then the tool body is this. Alright, so you do see that it gets a little bit weird. So I guess what we can try to do, let's assume that this is done. Not here. Create and tick in this face, and let's say something like 1 millimeter. Hopefully it could do something good. Not so sure. Alright, so we just stick with 1 millimeter. I really don't care anymore. Alright, so this is what we have. Alright, so this is quite nice so far, and this seems like what we actually intend to achieve. However, we have a little bit of an extrusion here which would have to cut out later on. But to complete this video right now, the next step to take is going to be to utilize some of the sketches we created earlier on, which are these sketches. So what we simply have to do right now is just to cut these sketches into component 1. So I'll try to just rename this top face case. So let's see what this is. This is battery. I'll call it battery case. And I'll call this bottom face case. Bottom face. Alright. Okay. So it's time to cut up our body. Extrude. I would select on the profiles to use 1. Let's see what this looks like from top view. So this is a little bit not nice. It ought not to be this way, which means that somehow this shape has been changed. I guess during the modification of the freeform body. So to create our extrusion, we would not work with this right now. So we create extrusion using these faces. 1, where is the body? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's supposed to be a cut extrusion. And so this is here. I drag this upwards. Alright, and we have this with us. Okay, so if we check the objects to cut, we have our top face case. Alright, so at this point we would simply just do something which was not initially the plan, but that's going to be to cut our holes here for the joysticks, and it's going to be done in a kind of weird manner, but we just have to. This is not the ideal way, and this is actually not the plan, but we're just going to have to work with this. So we're going to create an offset of this edge here and drag it in by 1.5, right, and say okay. Looks really weird. And I'll repeat the same process here. I have no idea how I managed to screw this up, to be honest. I need this offset of this sketch, so that's not possible. So what I'll do is I would create a projection of this. Okay, then I create the offset for that and coming inwards 1.5. Alright, this, double click on this and make this construction line. Finish this sketch. I would call that sketch weird unplanned sketch. Alright, and lastly we create our extrusion to cut through the top face again. So this is cut, and I'll drag this inwards just a little bit. Alright. So this is what we have. Great. And this, my friends, is where we bring this particular video to an end. So to check upon the different components which we have, we notice that we have this: the top face, which is yellow, the bottom face, which is I guess that's cyan, I don't know, and then the battery face, which is this I think this is cyan and this is something green, but this is what we have for now, and I think it's pretty good, the level at which we have gotten to. And with all of this done, I would see you in the next video. Hi there. If you liked this video, you can give it a thumbs up by clicking on the like button. And if you are yet to subscribe, it takes you just about 3 seconds to click on the button and select the notification bell so you get updates when new uploads are made. Alright, that's all for now. See you in the next video.